Okay, that's good.
Right.
So we'll go ahead, we'll call the meeting to order. And for November 6th is a very good day, my birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So we'll do a roll call. We got everybody, like I said. And this time we'll open up public communications to any member of the audience that would like to address the board. At this time, you have 2 minutes per individual to address the board, maximum time 10 minutes. We do have another public communication meeting at the end of the meeting where you have a longer message, you can speak for 5, maximum call of 30 minutes. Is there anybody that would like to address the board at this time?
There's nobody online.
Nobody online? And fair board members don't count. But this,
How's Ganger doing anyway?
He's right there.
Ganger's right there.
I know.
Ask him.
So, how you doing, Bill?
Not bad for an old man.
Yeah, so I hear good things about you. You're recovering good and
Yeah. Yeah, I went to the doctor the other day and said, keep up the good work, but don't work too hard.
good, good. Good to hear that.
Yeah, I am too.
How's your wife doing?
Oh, she's back to work already. And
Wow.
she went elk hunting last week.
Uh,
With those new knees.
Yeah, those new knees go up and down the hill.
Mm,
well, somebody has to pay for that farm, don't they?
Yeah,
All
yeah, and the remodel too.
oh,
right.
wow. But you got that contracted out, don't you?
Well, yeah, pretty much. We got another third of the house to go and we're done.
Okay.
And then she can retire. But I told her she's not gonna retire. Cause she'll get the whip out.
Tired. All right, financials. We didn't print them out here. Does anybody need a copy of the financials or did you review them? Did you review them? Do you need a copy?
Isn't that what my job is? I'm
Well-
supposed to review them?
Yes, I guess I was like, oh, everybody probably reviewed them, so I didn't print them, but then I started thinking, maybe I needed to print them.
Well, and because what is the new system that we're on?
It's the new iAgenda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'd
So I-
forgotten about that.
I
obviously,
uploaded everything,
because
okay.
I texted her earlier.
I
today
can run
and
and
said,
print them.
Where's the stuff?
I can run and print them really quick. Actually, Bob, do you want to run and print them really quick? Or it'll be faster if I do.
I might have access to it.
Okay,
You guys chat them up.
Okay, we're gonna
Sing
take a
Carrie
little
happy
break here.
birthday.
It's actually
Take a break.
3 months of current year.
Get a cool one if you can.
I'll just print them from here.
Yep.
Okay.
He's gonna throw them up.
I just have to print them and they'll print
What
automatically.
you do?
I am well old.
walking. See, I did the same thing. Everybody laughs.
Yeah, Albert.
It's
and Al.
hurt and we all laugh.
It was 2 weeks ago, so I'm laughing now.
Yeah, but
but
she's so much younger.
I-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it.
I can see we
Okay,
felt.
You got
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
That's pretty obvious at that time, yeah.
So did you break your?
Fuck a fingernail.
Yeah, last Friday.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't,
I sent you guys all an Outlook invite.
yeah.
I got the invite.
I got that.
Yeah,
I didn't do
So
that.
I sent you, the links are in it, like the link to the
Oh.
packet, the link to the
I
agenda.
didn't even go past the yes.
Yeah, I didn't either, so, and I'm supposed to know better.
So it's the new system that the county has, it's called
And
the
since I
agenda.
knew,
So
I
it's
went ahead and
all-
looked at everything.
Everything is up in the cloud, so it's just
Oh, the
links to, it's just links to the packet, yeah, which then I upload to
Getting
the.
techie, getting an Intel techie.
Our board was the first one that did it, we were the
The
guinea pigs, and when I managed to do it the first time, I guess they were like, well, if she can do it, anybody can do it, so.
Yeah, but I hear this from every other committee that I'm on in
Oh, really?
the county. Yeah, they're going, where's the agenda? Oh, no, you have to go here.
Yeah, click on the link, it takes you to the
Okay.
meeting page, but I'm used to it now, so
Yeah.
it works really good, actually.
It really does.
It really
yeah.
does. Well, and you can swap out things really quick if you need to, so it's nice. So.
And if the attendees look at them, it's real,
Well, that is true. That's like half the battle right there.
especially the county commissioner board
That's
attendees that's
The
on the
old dog
committees.
new tricks.
Just like Intel, you just zoom through everything. Wow, wow. Zoom right past the links.
So we can pull them up on this? Is he still working on this?
He just printed them. He's gonna go pick.
Oh, okay. Well, there's only one page.
Yeah,
maybe two.
it's
Two.
it's back to back. And it looks good, you guys should. It looks good, you should look at it.
Yeah, financials look good.
Especially the financial
Did you look at
person.
them?
Absolutely, and
Good.
then I looked and I thought, okay, so we're at month
Mm-hmm.
3. We got 9 more months, we got TLT, this is what our expenses are.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And so
I did
we're
I did a
gonna
bunch
Finish
of,
up really,
I did a bunch of forecasting too. When I saw it, I was like, oh. So I put in, estimates on all the projected stuff for the year, when I estimated low, what we would get in for TLT. And, yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good.
yeah, our TLT, the first 3 months is about
Right.
those things.
For projection purposes, I did our lowest used the lowest number from last year and just used that for like the remainder of worst case scenario. So, yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, it's good.
See, all this budget stuff is kind of like right in your wheelhouse. Or you saying that before you really like doing the budget or?
I don't know that like is the right word, but, I'm used to it. What I like to do is, to look at what we're doing and, projections and forecasting and things like that. What I don't particularly like is, and we'll get to this here in the meeting a little bit, is the budget calendar timeline from the county has been really shortened up. It used to be they gave us 3 months worth of time and we got to really like deep dive and really like crunch numbers, which is part of what I do like to do. And there is no time for that anymore. It's you've got 1 month, you better get your numbers in, decision packages, and it's all very, very hectic, which I don't. That's the part I don't like. We used to get to spend a lot more time with the data.
So who changed that?
Someone at the county.
But me,
No, I think it was 2 years ago, Greg Munn changed it and really tightened it up. So,
okay,
and I got,
Commissioners have to agree on it.
no, I don't know what they do.
no,
You don't have to agree on anything.
yeah. But not on that,
Yeah, budget calendar.
that's outside or.
You guys probably agree on like budget committee meetings and things like that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we roll those.
And there's a
back.
lot more time, so that's where the extra time went. They took it from us and gave it to you guys.
And because somebody added a few extra budget meetings.
Yeah. Well, yes. Very true.
There'd be a quiz for you two
Oh,
guys.
Really?
I did find it. Like, it's-
Okay. So thank you for the very brief little intermission there. I apologize. I don't know why I didn't think that we needed printed copies. So you've got it there in front of you. Take a few minutes to look at it. Just as a reminder, this is our year to date for the current fiscal year. Our current fiscal year operates July 1 to June 30th of 2025. So it's the current year into the next year. The financial that you have in front of you is year to date through September 30th. So it's looking really good. All the revenue has been booked, other than the outstanding PLT that will come in every month, transient lodging tax that will come in every month, and then our $53,000 that we get for the state, which we usually get right around December, January. So that will automatically arrive. So that's just a little bit of revenue we still have to book. Expenses are almost all paid. We have, I think, 3 or 4 outstanding invoices. We still have to pay, we just paid janitorial, we just paid some equipment. They've been really slow in getting us some invoices, and we are in dispute with our porta potty company because they did a whole bunch of stuff wrong. So once they get some of those things sorted out, we will get those final invoices paid, but we're really, really close. We just paid the sheriff's department. And then I do want to note, it's mostly for Jerry, but it's actually for all of you. There are some new line item accounts that I want to draw your attention to specifically, and they're easy to find because they don't have a budget assigned to them. So if you look under revenue, the vendor RV fees and vendor utility fees are 2 things that I added accounts so we can track these things. So I added accounts for better data tracking. So for those of you that have been around on the board for a little while, it used to be we lumped parking costs in with just general fare, and when we pulled parking costs out and started tracking it, that's when we really got our eyes open how much parking cost us to operate. So we're starting to do that with some other things, so we can look at revenue and expenses on things that, you know, we've been having trouble pulling out and tracking that data on its own. So we make a little bit of revenue from vendor RV fees and vendor utility fees, and then we actually have some expenses on those. And then you will see that in our expenditure under the last 4 line items, you'll see a safety and security expense, commercial vendor expense, concession expense, and janitorial expense. Those were things that we haven't been tracking, and you can immediately look at janitorial and see how much we're spending on actually janitorial, keeping clean, sanitation. It is a lot of money to keep this place clean for 10 days. And safety and security is another one. It costs us a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. We still have one outstanding invoice of $15,000 for this line item. So it costs us a lot of money for safety and security as well. So I felt like pulling these out gives us some better tracking for the budget moving forward. The Sheriff's Department, and I know Gary knows this. I don't know if Jerry knows this, but I do want to share with you that the Sheriff's Department kept track of all of their hours this year. And if they were to bill us what they actually served, rather than the agreed upon amount that we did, they spent over $250,000 providing services to us. But we had agreed on the 190 in advance. So they stuck with that. Next year, that is not going to be the deal anymore. We are going to pay what the actual costs are moving forward. So
Hillsborough Police is also,
Hillsborough Police is in there. We pay them an hourly rate. So whatever their hours are, they send us an invoice and we pay them a pre-negotiated rate.
so I see the 190 in September, and then in July, there's a 177.
Yeah, that's Hillsborough. That's our, that's Metro West. That is our on-site security that we have on site, not Sheriff's Department, but our security company.
How do you do the vendor utility fees? Are they metered somehow, some way?
So we charge them a flat fee on the number of hookups they have. So if they have a 50 amp hookup, we charge them a specific amount. If they have a 20 amp hookup, we charge them a specific
Over
amount.
10 days or whatever?
It's a one-time fee for the hookup, and it covers the entire 10 days.
And that's consumption as well.
So the food vendors specifically, they are all on generators. So it's easy to monitor the costs on that. We know exactly what those generators cost us. The commercial vendors are plugging, like here in Wingspan, are plugging directly into our electrical system. So it's not metered, but we charge, Bob can tell you what it is. I don't even know what.
125 per hour.
Yeah, which is pretty standard for other events.
Once it covers.
I don't know that it probably, I mean, our PGE bill for the month of July in this building is about $50,000. So and because the fair really only uses about half of that, because we have events earlier in July as well, the fair board pays for half of that. So we're not recouping that from the vendors, but you know, we've got lights on and air conditioning and toilets flushing the whole time. So we are recouping some of our utility fees, but it's probably not a ton. We're probably recouping $10,000, $15,000 total.
Any other discussion on the financials? Seeing none, can we get a motion to approve the financials for fiscal year 24-25 through September 30th, 2024?
So motion.
I move.
Do we get a second?
Approved.
Roger that. All in favor, raise your hand so we can see them. All right, we're good. Financials are approved. Presentations, let's move into 25, County Fair.
Okay, so I don't have a lot to present on the 2025 fair other than the things that are here on the screen. So July 18th through the 27th are our dates next year. Right now it's kind of the slow time of year in general, but it's where Bob and I are really starting to work on the nuts and bolts of getting ready for budget, what we're gonna budget for the fair and what we are going to start going into negotiation on. Bob is our marketing director. He is working on a complete branding and marketing refresh. This last year, like he said at last month's meeting, was his first year. He really captured, didn't want to lose sight of what we've done in the past, but wanted to, keep doing those things, but start a few new things. But he's going to do a complete branding and marketing refresh. We have not updated our logo. We have not updated our website or anything since 2013. So Bob says it's time, and I don't disagree. So over 10 years to not update your marketing and things like that is a long time. So he's going to work on that. And as we get more information, he's starting to give me little tidbits on what he thinks he'd like to do with the logo, what he thinks he'd like to do with the website. He's getting some quotes. He met with our vendor that oversees our website. And so they're coming up with some proposals for us to review. So it'll be exciting because it's desperately needed. Bob is also working on sponsorships. We were talking about some of that today. We definitely missed the mark on sponsorships last year, not for lack of trying. Bob was out there beating the pavement and
I was gonna ask about this, it was 15.5.
Yeah. so sponsorships are hard to come by, especially in this economy. So Bob, you're welcome to chime in.
Yes, room to grow. That's, I think, our biggest thing. If anyone's ever done sponsorships, it's a lot of invested time, and it's a relationship game 100%. And our fair is a community event. So we need to get community buy-in from local business support. And so that's really the big push, is finding those businesses who want to support our event. So our 5-year contract with Coastal's up. I reached out to them today. They are interested in coming back. And then I already have a seat behind them that is occupied through another Sullivan Supply, who's been asking for 5 years. But I had to give Coastal a chance to come back. So, but the other ones that have been with us forever, they're on board. So that's good. We just need to find some new blood, I think.
Well, and the Coastal one was a trade. It wasn't cash. So that's expired. So it would be a cash deal from Coastal if they choose to come back. And if they don't, he's got a couple other that are interested in being an ag sponsor. So.
It was a trade.
Trade for panels. We did a long-term trade. So we first traded them for swine panels, then we traded them for sheep and goat panels, and then we traded them for horse panels. So it's been like a 10-year sponsorship that we've received value, but we've received no cash. So, but that came to an end at last year's fair. So we've worked off, free panels, like there's no other fair in the state that has got new panels, much less free panels. So we've been very, very lucky with that relationship, but hopefully we can get some cash moving
A
forward.
lot of our sponsors too do in-kind trades that help us out with goods and services and things of that nature. So those partnerships, while they don't show up on your guys' budget and balance sheet, they're there. So, and they're very supportive, and they do a lot of nice things for us. So
We get in kind with Scott Nelson over here at
Yep.
Hillsborough Motorsports
yeah,
for ATVs.
and, yeah,
Roger that.
Farmington Gardens and a couple
Yeah.
others, they all help. So that's nice.
And they get like marketing, some labor.
Give them top billing.
Yep, Banks Veterinary,
just like
does all of
someone
our
else gonna
events
give us
done for
cash.
us, and it's trade, and we give them
And is that
advertising.
seen just by banners within the fair, or is it how else?
It's website, social media, signage out front, signage inside.
Yeah, get an advertising partner. That's my.
Well, and then our sponsors do get, advertising on our commercials as well. Any questions on sponsorships or marketing? All right, more to come. So we are walking into what we call entertainment negotiation season. So this is when we start getting proposals from entertainers about what they're going to, who would like to come, who is available, what their costs are, and we'll start negotiating with them. So we use an agency for some of it, and some of it we do in-house. Bob and I are going to the International Association of Fairs and Expos in December and Western Fairs Association in January, and that's where we will finalize most of these negotiations and then come back and start doing contracts. And it's all timely because we're working on the budget right now. as well. So we can say, this is what we've got. Either you come down on your price or we got to go to a different entertainer. So, and then vendors and concession sales, Bob is, I think, always working on vendor sales. So it's kind of a year-round process. Vendors that were here last year that want to come back will re-sign up and we'll walk them through that process and get them paid and things like that. So that's just kind of a year-round thing that goes on with vendor and concession sales. And then last is our operations contracting. We try to do our operations contracts, and operation contracts are janitorial, security, tents, equipment, you know, big things that we need to operate, payroll services, things like that. We try to do those as 5-year contracts. We try to make them not happen all at the same time. We've really got them to the where we're only doing a couple every year now, instead of it used to be we did like 10 every single year. So we're getting a little bit smarter through all these years. So some of those operations contracts, I think, are our alcohol concession contract is coming up, so we have to renegotiate that one. And I think the only other one besides the sheriff's department is security. So we'll get moving on those. Those are because of the dollar amount, those are all RFPs that we run through the county process, which is we follow the Oregon State Public Purchasing Law, which is covered by the county purchasing department. And we tell them what we need, they run the RFP process, they tell us who wins, and we issue a contract. And that's what we're doing for the fair right now. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to 2025 calendar budget.
Okay. So you guys, just really quickly as we get ready to walk into budget 25-26, just as a reminder, you saw this slide last year during budget. So I threw it in here again, just as a reminder, what the fair board's role is and what the fair manager's role is in governance as it relates to the budget. So the fair board has oversight of the budget, maintain the strategic plan, you establish policy, and you award contracts. I prepare the budget, ensure alignment to the policy and strategic plan, and I execute the fair contracts. It's when it boils all down to it, it's that simple. Those are the things that we're each responsible for doing. Let's see. So the county budget, county budget calendar, we kick off county budget on December 4th, which is just less than a month away. So we had our first department budget meeting, all department budget meeting earlier today with all the county department budgets are what they call the CLT, the county leadership team. And I noticed right before I walked in today that all of the budget meetings hit our calendars today. So we all got like 25 meeting invites to all the budget meetings for this season. So February 10th is when the department's requested budgets and packets are due to the county. And then April 28th, the proposed budget is published on the county website, and June 17th is the Board of Commissioners public hearing to adopt the 24-25, wait, that's not right, the 25-26 budget.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
25, 26.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
yep, it is. So, and with that calendar, then it creates your fair board budget timeline. So I will have, so it's tight. It really is. So that's why and the problem is there's a couple problems here. So, and that's, you know, part of a couple things I want to discuss with you today. So budget season kicks off on December 4th. The Board of Commissioners don't even set their budget priorities until I think the 5th. No, that's for us. So I won't have a lot of time. I have to get you guys the budget draft by December 20th for you to review it in time to get questions to me and then have our meeting to approve the budget on January 8th. It's a very, very tight timeline because then I have to turn around and get the budget prepared to turn in February. So I only have a couple of weeks to get a draft budget to you. I commit to have it out to you by December 20th. I need you guys to commit to have any questions, concerns, whatever you have to me by the 6th so I can address any of those. And at our meeting on January 8th, we need to approve the budget. There's a little bit of an asterisk in here that if we have to have a meeting in February at the beginning like the week before I have to turn in the budget packet, we could. And we can. It's something that you guys have to decide. We can decide that in December, we can decide that in January. If on January 8th, you don't feel that you're ready to approve the budget, we can schedule another meeting and we can keep working on the numbers. But I do have to have it completed and turned in on February 10th. So it's a very tight turnaround. So the other thing that we can do is we can have a just a Zoom budget meeting. We don't necessarily have to do it in person. We can find a time where we have, it's the only thing on the agenda. It's just a budget conversation. The other thing we could do is make that January 8th meeting a little bit longer, where we really dive deep into the numbers and look at every single line item and have a really robust conversation. To where
Last year we had
a special meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, and
that
we
worked
can,
out pretty
and
good.
we can do that again.
That just kind of focus on.
Yeah, and we can do it just, on Zoom, we can do it in person, whatever you guys want to do. You don't have to decide that today. I'll send out an email tomorrow and get you guys to weigh in on it if that works better for you, but I just do want you to recognize that the tight timeline that I will get those numbers to you. And my concern is on December 20th, when I send it to you, the numbers with the county change all the time. So they'll give us some numbers, like they'll give me the TLT numbers. And then by the time February comes around, they might have new TLT numbers. So then the budget would change. So even when you guys approve the budget, sometimes there's adjustments where they come back and say, oh, the call has changed or the TLT has changed, and I'm having to make small adjustments within the budget that's after you guys have approved it as well. So just knowing that there's some of those things in there that are coming up.
And this is new, this year, the county budget process has changed in some way to make it a tighter window than it used to
The
be.
last 2 years. So this is the second year that's very short like this.
Did we have the meeting earlier in the day? On that January 8th meeting?
You can have it whatever time you guys want. We can have it
Because
today, we can have it
it
in the
gets
morning.
dark early and I can't drive in the dark. And I think this meeting, we all should be there instead of Zoom. That's my preference.
So because it would still be a public meeting, it would still be hybrid, it's required by law. So we can all be in the room together and then we still have to be on Zoom. So if some people can't make it, during the day, we can still do, somebody can still, well, and Troy might be in Yuma.
I will be.
You will be.
I won't be back until.
Yeah. So we can still have it be hybrid. Those
Okay.
in person can be in person, those that need to be on Zoom can still be on Zoom because it is still a public meeting.
Okay.
I have a question, Lee.
Is that Patine?
Yeah, when the members submit to you the questions for the budget, do we share these questions or it's just directly to you?
You can send them to the whole group.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the 2 days to review the final budget while we just received the comments and questions on January 6th. So it seems a little bit tight to review the concerns or questions or comments to change. I'm just trying to spread the difference between January 6th and January 8th to give us enough time to review the additional inputs from the members.
Yeah, so if you guys send me any of your questions, I mean, ideally before January 6th, but no later than January 6th. And that gives me, and sending them to the whole group so you can all see what questions you're answering. You're asking, great. But that gives me time to then get you answers back before our January 8th meeting. So we have all the data that you requested to discuss at that meeting.
Yeah, my suggestion, that January 6th is a Monday, so if we can get it by Friday, the January 3rd, that at least give us the weekend to review the additional inputs, because December 20 to whatever January, that's enough time to review the main budget, which the draft, as you said it. But I'm trying to leave a little bit gap between January 6th and January 8th.
Sure.
If we can make it like January 3rd, which is a Friday rather, that would be better. Thank you.
Did you hear where you said you could send that out in early December to the chair board?
I think so. I'll follow up with an email too, just.
Okay. Now, if we meet on January 8th and you want to meet earlier, Bill, what time are you thinking about?
Well, it depends on how long the meeting could go. I mean, as long as could be home before dark, that'd be fine, but it gets dark early.
Based on those that work. What's the,
Well,
I don't work.
I use vacation time to come here. So,
Okay.
I mean, I prefer like 4:30, but I can use more vacation time.
if we do it at 2 o'clock, is that too early or?
No, it's just a matter of how much. I mean,
Okay. So why not on January 8th, let's schedule the meeting at 2 o'clock. Right here.
Sounds good.
That should give you plenty of time to get you home. And if it is dark, Bill, I'll take you home.
Okay.
I can't see either, so don't worry about it.
You gonna pick me up the next day so I can get my truck?
Well, I'll make sure I have somebody here with me so we can get your truck home.
Okay. Sounds good.
I get the sheriff to tow it. Or we can call Marty. We can get Marty out here to tow.
There you go.
All right, then we will do that for January 8th. We'll make sure it's a 2 o'clock board meeting.
Sounds good.
I'll just add extra time on the agenda for budget discussion. And then when
Sure.
I'll send out an email, I'll send out an email just capturing this again tomorrow, but then when I send out the draft budget to you on December 20th, January 3rd is great. I mean, you don't even have to wait till January 3rd. But yeah, get me those questions, send them to the whole fair board so everybody sees the questions. Then I'll get you guys answers back. And then on that 8th, we'll spend some good time talking about the budget.
Good.
2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
moving on to 4-H. I don't see Alan, so
So I don't see Alan either. I did actually have a meeting with Alan yesterday. There was a lot of updates. They had their 4-H learning, did they call it the learning day? They had that in October. They had 271 people attend, which is a lot more than the year before. Registrations are happening with 4-H now. I think they go through January, so that's kind of what's happening with 4-H.
public communication comments, and I don't see anybody.
So,
Is anybody in the
Is Ann
waiting
here?
chat room?
okay, good. So,
Nobody in the chat room, right?
no, so, Ann Ober, our
CAO.
our ACA, our Assistant County Administrator, just pulled in. She was racing here to get to this so she can meet you all. Danny Ledesma is no longer with the county. So, Ann, is stepping in to cover for us until a new ACA for our department can be found.
So Danny couldn't get along with you, that's why she's.
Yeah.
He is gonna be here. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
I promised I was here on time, but I tried to go in the parking back here.
Okay.
And it does not.
Yeah.
It was not impressive. Hi.
Hello, Ann.
So I just was, as you were getting ready to walk in, I was like,
Maybe not, I don't know. It's nice to see you.
I was just introducing you as you were walking in that we have a new ACA and Ober. This is the Fair Board. Mitch, Troy, you know Gary,
How are you?
Bob. And we have online, we have Bill Ganger and Fatine.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. My name is Ann Ober. I've been at the county for 6 months and 5 days. I have to work with Jerry.
Yeah, well, we understand that.
So thanks for your grace with me.
It was perfect timing. We
Yeah.
just wrapped up our final agenda item.
Perfect.
It was perfect timing. So it's all you to provide any type of county administrative update you would like to do.
Sounds great. So I'm gonna just give a little bit of a background about me. And then we can talk about the property and what's been going on with the property and discussions with Hillsborough, because we do have some updates on that front. So the first piece, I'm originally from Minnesota and I moved to Utah. I moved here about 8 years ago to be the city manager of Milwaukee, and then I can.
The microphone is directly above you in the ceiling.
Is it? Okay, I can speak up. So I came from Utah to be the city manager of Milwaukee. I was there for 7.5 years, and then I came over to this team for the opportunity to work with Tanya Angie, who is someone I deeply respect and really wanted a chance to get to know better. So at this point, for the last 6 months, I've been predominantly focused on internal services. So I've been working with our IT team and our HR team, finance, trying to support our employees at the county. With Danny's departure, I was excited to get to hang out with Leah. So we've been working with facilities on trying to determine next steps on the master plan. And so it really was a great nexus point for us to get to work together for a while. So thank you. And that brings me to the discussions I've been having with Hillsborough most recently. So the high level is that there have been discussions off and on for years, it sounds like, about whether or not there's a partnership opportunity where they would invest some money on the fields out here and on the pickleball or tennis courts, depending on who you're talking to. And then on the RV parking portion of the property. Raheem, who's the assistant city administrator, did reach out to me about 6 weeks ago. He and I have started talking about what that could look like. He is having the same discussion with the Parks Board tonight that we are in conversation. But the way we're looking at is trying to get additional ball fields for them. They received some money and need to offset some displaced fields, which you probably all know. And we have a need to get the RV campground spaces up and running in order to support the activities here at the property. So those conversations are going well. I should have some information to share with the board in the next week as just some general guidelines, but they are very interested and we're trying to figure out if we've got something here in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Are there questions? I don't know how much you've been told in the past. So if there are things, Jerry, that you ask or if you'd like me to add, I'm happy to.
I think everybody knows where the ball fields are. And the county had a 99-year lease, I think. I don't know how long it
It was
was.
technically a 30-year lease
With the city that expired.
in 2005.
Yeah, a long time ago. And so the city has been reluctant to put any money in to improve the ball fields. The county worked with the city when I was mayor.
So we own the ball fields, for those of you that don't know.
Yeah. And the RV park was kind of a county, on the county wish list.
Part of the master plan.
That was designed and then bid and then got really, really expensive. So it got parked. And so that's coming back around.
Yeah.
Park. And so, yeah, this has been a kind of a visionary development desire for quite some time. Hillsborough really wanted those ball fields. They're gonna invest a lot of money in them. And so it's gonna really enhance the facilities here, so.
So I have a
Yeah.
question, if my recollection is correct on the master plan, those ball fields was the area at the RV park?
So Raheem's been looking at, there were 80 stalls
Mhm.
that were in the master plan. We are trying to recreate that in a tighter footprint to allow for the ball fields still to stay. But the master plan would have to be amended to allow for the continuation. But what we're hearing is that there's general interest from both sides. As long as we can offset both, we can provide both services to do that. So the RV would be off to the left. If you're looking at the fields right now, it'd be to the left here.
And she's pointing in the wrong direction.
Yeah, it's like-
The fields are over here.
It's okay, we're getting it.
Okay, fields are this way?
Yeah.
Okay, so off to the left.
Yeah.
The TriMet
Next to
parking lot
TriMet,
and
yeah.
then right next door to just to the right of the TriMet parking
We
lot.
got
So
it.
the ball
we got
fields
it.
would stay where they're at.
Yeah.
And the old master plan showed those ball fields becoming the RV park.
So the master plan that was adopted in 2019 showed the RV park being on half of the ball fields that's most close to the TriMet Park and Ride, and the other half was actually being turned into parking because the ball fields were parked. So in 2016, it was going to be redeveloped ball fields and an RV park. Then it got expensive and there was wetland mitigation and it all fell apart. So then the city decided they weren't gonna do the ball fields anymore. So then we redid the master plan, and just where the ball fields were gonna be, it just became overflow parking. So now it's putting the ball fields back where it was just overflow parking, but the RV park in the same exact spot with the 80 stalls.
Yeah, and
A
it's.
little bit more compressed.
Yeah, it's a little more compressed. But they're looking at doing basically a hub for the RV location as well, a constructed building on that site. Whether or not we end up paying for that, they end up paying for that. The part that is currently on the table is the wetland mitigation is actually really expensive. And that is currently on the table as being something that they would. So that's the part that gets us closer. The earthwork is always the thing that.
Which is considered the wetlands.
So, yeah, the ball fields, so when this building was constructed, this was all wetlands, and there was a whole bunch of wetlands throughout the fairgrounds and the ball fields. So when this building was constructed, they had to mitigate wetlands where this building went, and the county decided to mitigate everything on this side of Veterans Drive. Yay. But didn't mitigate anything on the ball fields on the other side of Veterans. So where the RV park and the ball fields go, there's considerable wetlands that have to be mitigated. And it's gonna be, back in 2016, it was ended, I think it was like $2 million, which everybody was shocked by. And I'm sure it's a lot more now.
14.
4 to 6.
Just for the mitigation, not just for the mitigation.
What we used to call a mud hole, now it's called a wetland.
Right. It's hard as a rock in July.
Yeah.
But right now it's underwater.
And the National Guard still on building over here.
They started doing bulldozer work today.
Okay, good.
You know, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you for the excellent overview. Is this the first time this team has been brought into this discussion?
No,
No.
but not recently.
It's-
So we have some new members that have been on since
Yeah,
the last
RV
discussion.
park. I was thinking the RV park, that we have RVs out here.
So the last time this
Yeah,
board,
no, it's on the other side of.
Well, so it's the parking area for the TriMet.
Yeah.
RV park,
next to that, yeah.
and there's 3 baseball fields.
Yes, yeah. So the last time this board discussed this was in 2019, right before the Board of Commissioners adopted the master plan.
Well, if you're open to it, I'd like to come back at your next meeting. My guess is you're doing these like quarterly. Is that right?
Okay, next month be January 8th.
Yeah.
I'd like to actually come. I'll bring the map. By then, we should have a better understanding and we'll present it to the board and we can have a more thorough conversation.
It's gonna be their in-depth budget meeting too, so it's great that you'll be here for that.
Perfect.
We were gonna have you do the budget.
I actually did present the budget today.
I told them, yeah.
Great
today.
It's interesting. Yeah, it was interesting. Before I go, any questions from you, Bill?
No?
Team?
Well, I have one. How many ball fields are we talking? Baseball field?
So they're being cautious not to say baseball fields because they want to keep them somewhat. Yeah, well, actually, no, they just want to be able to use them for everything that they have. So softball, baseball, in off seasons, probably lacrosse through the center. Like they're just trying to figure out how to maximize the use of the site.
So a multi-use
Yeah, so they're
facility.
for baseball, if you consider it baseball, for baseball, but
Mhm.
3 to 4, and they're working on designs now.
Okay.
And it depends on if they're gonna be for kids. Or because adult softball is bigger fields.
Mhm.
Kids obviously have smaller fields, 60-foot bases rather than 90-foot bases, so footprint's much smaller.
What's the current with the number of fields, diamonds are there now, correct?
There's 3 now, I
Three,
think.
yeah.
There's like 3.
Mhm.
They'd like-
Sometimes they're smaller, they've got the one back in the corner, not everywhere else, it's kind of like a double field.
We really need to clean that whole area up, so I'm really excited about this getting started. And what's driving it is, as you know, the Hops took 3 ball fields to build their stadium. So they're down 3, so they really want to enhance these. They're gonna probably put artificial turf in. So they're gonna be, yeah, they're gonna be not year round, but much more available depending on the weather.
So since the Hops took 3, is Mike gonna build these?
They are,
Is he really?
they
Wow,
are,
that's great.
yeah.
Is that right?
That's
Cool.
impressive. Okay.
The one furthest west that has the berm, it's a smaller field, that one stay as is.
Well, let's just wait and see how it goes.
They're
Well, I
gonna,
know there's the 3 back.
they're gonna bring us some designs.
Well,
The
yes.
new plan is there's, all the RV stuff will be east of the.
I'll bring a couple of things. So one is we'll bring the master plan, the original 2019 adopted. We'll also bring a copy of whatever the city provides us as a discussion point. But they're still trying to tweak it. They're just excited that everybody's in for the discussion. And that we might be able to go fast. And I think that is our hope and intention too. So this has long been a goal of this team and of other teams around the Wingspan. And so it's time.
Very cool.
Good.
Okay, anyone else? 15?
Thank you. I'm fine.
Okay, perfect. Anything else that you want to know about what's happening at the county? The commissioner is probably better suited, but I can make funny jokes. No?
Can we get a better commissioner?
Okay, I'll work on it.
Get a commissioner upgrade.
No,
Did we get
actually,
the fair board paid?
What did you say?
Fair board paid.
one of the things that I joked with the commissioner about when I came to the county is that it actually feels very much so like working in Utah and being home. So actually, it's been fun joking around with that because so many of the commissioners that I work with there are similarly hilarious.
Ganger, you get all the pancakes you can eat.
There you go.
What do you want?
No, I eat the sausages.
That's right. Well, this year the pancakes were great, weren't they, Bill?
Yes, they were.
We can be able to do
They
that.
feed
yeah,
Frank and
as long
kids
as, Bob's
breakfast
still
every
there.
morning during the fair.
Up is-
I have heard that it is an amazing feat and that we always run out, which is impressive.
Well, and Elmer's has been providing this last year. They provided all the pancake dough.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah,
As long as
It
we
was
didn't
fantastic.
alter it.
As long as we didn't.
you can't stir it.
You can't stir
You
it?
just stir it, it flats.
Oh, my gosh. I'll have to.
And
Thought pancakes
they're
was
happy to donate it too.
high tech stuff, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited.
Batter has been their nemesis, so when Elmer said they would donate the batter, we were like, great, but they said, and we'll give you a sign to put up, but if you stir it, take our sign down.
Oh, wow.
That's
awesome.
Which was nice. It was a lot easier.
It was a lot easier to do everything.
Still sticks there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're good. Thank you, man.
I appreciate it. Have a
Thank
lovely
you.
night.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Ann.
Thank
I'll see you
you.
back in January.
You bet.
Is the Fairground Advisory Committee, is that still
Meet you.
functioning?
So, it does not operate anymore, at the request of 3 ACAs ago. So,
3 ACA.
so, yeah,
Acting county manager.
so, yeah, I've had like 5 in the last couple of years, so.
Yeah, well, no, I've heard from some people. I think
But
probably,
no, So, I think it was Rachel Fuller maybe, she decided that that would no longer be a functioning organization because it's technically called the Fairgrounds Development Advisory Committee and there's no fairgrounds development going on. And the county was rolling what is it called? Not the maintenance plan, the capital improvements plan, and they were rolling what we do out here into the county's process. So they didn't feel that that was needed because it would have oversight from the Board of Commissioners.
Yeah,
That
they were
was
working when we were building this.
Yeah,
But that was
their primary
Yeah, that
purpose.
was the
was,
purpose and that was
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, so it doesn't function anymore. the thought was if there ever is development again, the Board of Commissioners could choose to bring that back or have it function in, because the Board of Commissioners now oversee the capital improvements program, which didn't exist
So
prior.
how does that just kind of go, that was part. When was that developed? At the same time the MOU, the
Mm.
Fair Board kind of,
No,
MOU was first and then,
no, no. Mm,
because we had that when we were, building.
Mhm.
So we had it long before then, because it was actually, what was the commissioner's name long time ago, older guy.
Not talking about
long
Bob
time
Terry.
ago, no. Leeper.
Oh,
John
That's
Leeper
way
was
back.
still a county commissioner when the Fairgrounds Development Advisory Committee was formed. It was John Leeper and Andy Dyke that formed it. And you were the mayor then.
mhm.
And so that was, oh my gosh, 2006, maybe?
Well, 6 was before me as mayor. I started in 9, but I joined it as soon as I was mayor, yeah.
Yeah,
But
so-
it had been in place. for a long
Yeah.
When did we impeach you?
But,
You didn't catch me till
but at-
16.
but at the time, that committee met like once a year to talk about like, we should develop the fairgrounds, and everybody would nod their head and be like, yeah, we should develop the fairgrounds, let's have a meeting about it again next year. And then in 2008, we got the MOU, and then we had both functioning Fair Board and the Fairgrounds Development Advisory Committee that worked to get this building built, and that was the point, was to get this building built. So once the Fair Board designated their authority for the facility year-round for just the fair, that's when the Fair Board Development Advisory Committee really started doing work, because the Fair Board in 2008, they were like, we cannot administer a master plan. We don't have any money, we don't have any authority. We need to give this to the Board of Commissioners. And that's
they
what
didn't have authority.
well, it was county property, but operating under ORS 565, so there was legal issues. So, and county had the money and the ability, but the Fair Board had governance, and so that's why that MOU went into place, where the Fair Board is just the fair, the Board of Commissioners was everything else, and then the Fairgrounds Development Advisory Committee was the group that made the recommendations to build this building.
And as a fair board, we did sit on.
And-
it was
and-
the fair, right,
Yeah.
and it was that advisory committee that put together the master plan for the rest of these properties,
Yeah.
correct?
That was approved by the Board of Commissioners in 2019.
Yeah, we had 3
I just
phases.
remember how, I mean, I was
Yeah.
active. and
Yeah.
I had little
Yeah.
kids, and
Yeah,
it was,
so in 2019, when that iteration of the master plan was approved by the Board of Commissioners, then at that point, I remember the Fairgrounds Development Advisory Committee going, well, now what do we do? And really the answer was not much. So
Because we looked
that's,
at the other 2 phases. It
well,
was gonna be build all the other
Right.
buildings. in the
yeah,
arena.
so then that committee was trying to figure out how to build these next phases, and that's when the county began a capital improvements program that didn't exist prior to that. So once the CIP was enacted, they rolled our master plan into the CIP, and that's when county administration decided that committee was no longer needed, because it was under the auspices of the Fair Board, or under the commissioners.
So there's 3 phases of the CIP for the fairgrounds, and we're looking at how we're going to finance the first 2, which is gonna be 60 million.
Yeah, well, in 2019, it was 48 million, so probably 60 million by now.
So that's what we're looking at, finally pull the trigger on
And it's actually phase
getting this.
1AB is what it is, yeah.
Can be very cool.
What is it?
It's the next, I'll email you guys the link
Yeah,
to
what
it.
if we do that?
it's-
Set that up?
I have it sitting on my desk.
There's more changes coming to the fair.
If we can find $60 million, yes.
well, and that was the last discussion, kind of, it's like, well, this plan's still in place, but there's no money, so nothing's moving forward. on that.
And that's
This
exactly,
is the first thing, and it's Hillsborough money coming in to develop
Mhm.
one part, which is different from the other plan.
which was
So-
technically phase 3 of the master plan. So it's kind of funny that the thing that was last on the list is actually probably the first thing that's gonna happen, which is why the master plan will need to be updated from. a
Does it
board
support the
standpoint.
fair? I mean.
Heck, yeah, it
Does
does.
it change the fair? or what
It
is
does, and
add
no,
to
it
the
adds
fair?
support, so everybody that camps, like all the 4-H and FFA people that dry camp out here in a field will actually have full RV hookups that they can stay in, with bathrooms,
What
showers.
about the arenas and barns and things like that?
That's
So
another
that's,
phase.
that's another phase, so
That's-
that's the
that's
phase, that's the phase 1A, it's all brand new, brand new multi-use facilities and livestock arenas,
The existing buildings will probably get scraped.
yeah. No
But
problem,
they won't get scraped until there's the replacement plan and.
well,
And we have
The
$60
money.
million.
until you have $60 million.
I just know I'm
and it's
speaking for a
done.
lot of
Can we
people that are
save it?
concerned about.
Are we saving money?
$5 at a time.
That's a building.
Well, that have been removed, but no replacement for it.
But that's, yeah, takes money to do. Well, the biggest one we removed was the fire hazard.
Yeah,
I mean, if that thing would have caught fire, nobody would have got out.
yeah.
It would have burned really fast.
Mhm.
Which was that, the horse or the
No,
Jeep,
that
or
was.
what, which
Well,
one are you talking about?
There was-
Oh, you're talking about the
building.
Yeah,
Exposition.
yeah, there you go.
Oh.
Well, before that was the arena, or
Arena.
the
Rodeo
the
complex.
rodeo
Yeah,
grandstands,
so that was fire.
they said it was the #1 fire hazard in Washington County, so that was in 2008.
And then it came to the barns.
Yeah, you remember that,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And then it was the barns were, yeah, so, but what will happen is, once it's funded and approved and, there's a permit in place and bulldozers are ready to start building, then they'll take down what's there and start building.
That's
their-
what I
yeah.
think the assurance of it.
Yeah, I'd like
I
to see
mean,
that.
yeah, the master plan is great. With this, when Hillsborough started talking to Ann, about 6-8 weeks ago, it got me excited again. So I dusted off my copy of the master plan and I highlighted a bunch of stuff again, and we're having meetings. And so, it's good. And I think that we're,
How much support does it have? Does it have?
so it has support from the city, we know that, and support, and funds from the HOPS. There'll be a presentation to the Board of Commissioners here very soon, because we're working on an MOU between the city and the county. And we do have to do a master plan revision where we say we're going to change the order of the master plan. And instead of having overflow parking on that one piece of property, it will be ball fields. So just some slight changes in the master plan.
Oh, some ball fields in the RV park over there are part of it as well.
Yes.
Okay.
How far does the campus extend on past east? Does it go all the way to the whole property? Brookwood? Does it go to Brookwood?
What?
The
Oh,
whole
our
campus?
property used to go to Brookwood.
Oh, no, our property's
But,
never
now
gone,
it's-
our
no, I
property's
thought-
never gone.
The port,
That's right, yeah.
The port property, that's just one way to line.
Yeah, nothing can be built there, right? Because it's there.
Right, so the, on the east side of TriMet, that's where the new armory is being built, and a readiness center. National Guard Readiness Center is being built. I mean, literally bulldozers arrived today.
South of
So-
Veterans, east of.
So they're gonna hug the flight path then, with that building.
Yes, and I just saw the first design on it yesterday. It looks pretty good. So they tried to mirror it to this building. They did pretty good. It'll be complementary. So that's about to be constructed, and then our property
Is
is,
it where the existing field is, basically, where parking is over there?
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a fence, and then the other side is the Port of Portland. Yeah, which is in the flight path and nothing can be built.
yeah, the Readiness Center bought
Parts
3
of-
acres.
of that
from
port
the
property, yeah. Behind the tree line.
Because they needed a little bit more, so yeah, they bought, and that took them right up to the line where, you can't go any further.
Yeah.
Because it's on the flight line.
So I have a question, on the ball fields there, right now, they're owned by the county.
Mhm.
Hillsborough's gonna develop them.
Hillsboro's been managing them for a long
Right.
time.
Since
Is
19.
the ownership still same, is that relationship
The
still the
ownership,
same?
the
They're
ownership
not
stays.
selling, okay, that's the one question.
The ownership
The other
stays.
one
So
is mitigation, if they're just, you have to mitigate wetlands for ball fields?
Anything.
you have to mitigate it for development at all.
Yeah.
So if we did nothing, we don't have to mitigate it. The minute we, anything to them, dig a hole, they have to be mitigated.
So,
So the original agreement with the city of Hillsborough was in 1975. And it was for $1 a year, which they paid in advance. It was 30-year lease, expired in 2005. And at the time, it said that the city would either buy the property at real market value from the county, or they would give it back to the county, and the county would do whatever the county wanted to do with it. In 2005, they said, we're not giving it back and we're not paying you for it, and too bad. And we've just been sitting here waiting for something to happen since 2005.
They can do that.
So, yeah, they shouldn't have done it.
Water?
but-
County really didn't want it either.
Well, we didn't, I
so-
mean,
So as far as Manny's ball fields
you
and
know,
all that.
we're
so-
not in the business of park and rec, and we didn't have money to develop it ourselves. So it's just kind of been sitting there, and you all know what it looks like. So this is an improvement that will benefit, an RV park will benefit this place year round, and will start generating some revenue for us.
Well, a lot of the teams that use it, the little league stuff, they're the ones that maintain a lot of that,
Yeah.
even more so than.
And who runs the RV park now?
We will run that,
The fair?
the fairgrounds.
Awesome.
So if you're looking for a place to stay in a weekend, you can move your thing and we can take you.
Drive my RV right
You
across.
can be the RV manager of the park.
I can do that.
I don't know about that. We have quality though.
Yeah, we do have quality.
We have some standards in there.
Be a hopping place. for sure.
And they're gonna do the RV park.
What's that?
In conjunction with these ball fields at the same time, so they would actually, RV part of that phase would.
No, so the city will mitigate the ball field, will mitigate the wetlands and develop their own ball fields. And then they will build a building that will be shared, that we would use as an RV park for like RV park manager. It would be joint restrooms, showers, things like that. They would build that, they would manage that. They would not build the actual RV park. That would fall onto the county to build,
Good times.
which would be another $3 to $5 million that the county would need to find to build that. Hopefully we can get some TLT dollars.
Yeah, that's probably where we'll get most of
Yeah,
it.
that's where I would
Yeah.
do.
Bond it with TLT.
That's what I figured. So I mean, it is.
That's still, that part's gonna be, it's in the wings for a while, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's,
Yeah, the design will be there, which is half the battle. We wouldn't have to go out for bid on the design or anything like that, then we would just have to go out for bid on construction and actually construct it. So, but there are TLT dollars out there that the county could bond against, or the BCBA's got money that they could probably contribute to it. All right,
Okay,
All right, we've got fair board meeting calendar. Correct?
yes, so next meeting, so I'll update this meeting calendar for us to start at 2. And if we have to add a February 1, we can decide that after.
so before we close, I believe that my 3-year term. is
Oh,
coming
yes,
to an
it
end.
is up at the end of this year.
So, I'm open to serve in another term.
You have to go in and
I
apply.
need to
Yeah.
do the regular application.
Yeah, you go through the county website.
this term up.
So no,
It'd be like-
him and Bob
Now.
are both up at the end of December. So Bob just submitted his application a couple days ago. So yeah, submit yours online on the county website.
It's a piece of cake.
Done it a couple times already.
We have some high standards though, so. Yeah, here.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about that earlier today.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's
I have another year
You got
Do we
like
post that though, that this position's open?
the county does, the community engagement department is always posting
Yes, we
what positions.
A lot of times we get other applications too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't actually, Bob's been the only one we've received, but the community engagement department, whatever they're called, they post like all the different board and commissions
Yeah.
that are available, and ours has been on there, so.
And how do they treat them when a person reruns for a 3-year term? Okay
It
with that?
depends on the person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
we,
I mean, do they prioritize? I mean, I
no,
guess.
we interview. We interview, yeah. I just did that last week for another position.
I've done it 5 times.
The So, yes, get your application in because I do have to.
Come on. You're slow on the uptake here, buddy.
Well, I was
In
reading.
January.
Usually I just bring in a box
So
of
what
golf
happens,
balls.
what happens,
All
you'll
used.
expire on December
Yeah.
31st, and then they'll hold over until they make their appointments in January. So I gotta get on the budget, on the calendar, I totally.
Yeah.
forgot about that, so. But so far, Bob is the only applicant, so, and he's applying for his position again, so if you apply
How many
then.
terms is Bob been on the board? You know?
I'm 3, this will be a third.
This is his
third.
third, yeah.
Bill's the longest.
Bill's on to his fifth.
Bill's been on the longest year.
I think he's on 6.
Are you on 6, Bill?
I think so.
I think he's a term longer than you.
Yeah, he's a term longer
You're
than
on
me.
5 terms.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
Well, it's interesting because at the Oregon Fairs Association Conference, which was a couple of weeks ago in Redmond, there are fair board members that have been on their fair board, because we're one of the few counties that has term limits for their fair boards. Some of these board members have been on for 30, 40 years. They're on forever. And it always mystifies me. I'm like, you guys don't have term limits? I'm like, we have term limits, kind of. But no, they said it's a life sentence. Once you're on, like, you basically have to quit or die.
Yeah, well, I know, just like with the bylaw, 2 consecutive terms is the.
Oh, that's the way it used to be,
Yeah.
but
But
that
if you're
doesn't,
not
they don't hold
counting
with that.
other applicants, I don't hear you said you had 3 or 4 applicants.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year we did. This
The only
year
one that
we
has a
did
term limit is Jerry.
Yeah,
For commissioner.
I gotta get reelected,
Yeah,
which I'm not gonna.
yeah.
You're not gonna do it
I've
again?
heard that before. He means it this time.
You go in Congress,
Who's
Senate,
gonna go president?
President?
That's a good idea.
2 more years and then I'm going to
Retire.
do something else.
Live life.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably golf pro.
Yeah.
Whatever Judy says. Sure.
Right.
What Judy said.
All right, that's it, then, get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
anybody disapprove? If you do disapprove, raise
We
your
can sit here and
hand.
chat some more.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
There you go, sir. I was hoping Bob was here. I
He's
missed.
in Hawaii.
Oh, yes.
What was a
Watching
good,
the
combo.
YouTube on the last meeting.
Oh,